is a Hardcore Grind interview with the fabulous Red of Mo Red Productions, Stacy Leonard. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, you got to let me know what you've been cooking in your creative kitchen.
You know, I cook. So lately what I've been cooking is just writing stuff. You know, I've been in the literary world for a long time. Hidden and nobody, well, I'm from the Gem City, so we like to say gems are hidden. Hidden to a degree for a long time and, you know, kind of came out of my shell. And I've been doing this IWrite thing, and it's not just a saying or, you know, something to name an event. It's really what I'm doing. And then on top of that, kind of, you know, get it on tour and everything. And just really staying focused, juggling everything, you know, still having an occupation, a 9 to 5, and just keeping myself afloat with this entrepreneurship stuff. And I do have a new one, CEO, Creators, Entrepreneurs, Owners.
Ooh, awesome. Now, I want to go back because, you know, I love to talk about a go moment. Mo Red Productions. Let's talk about your goal moment. And, you know, that's when thought and execution really come together. A lot of times when we think about things that we need to do, whether that's placed in our spirit, we deal with ourselves with lack and fear, and it's not time, I don't have time. But we're very mindful about how other people pour into their lives and build and do all those good things. And we're their cheerleaders. But we don't cheer too much for ourselves. We're more cautious on how we move around. What was your moment when you decided to say, let me get this started?
Well, first let me say, you just preached a whole little small sermon right there. You know, pouring into everybody else and doing what we do, you know, promoting, editing, organizing, arranging events, and you don't make enough time to continue to push forward your own business. So my goal moment was years ago. So I don't like to stop and start, but sometimes it happens. And years ago I did this, over 6 years ago, back in the great city of Dayton, Ohio, OH. And it was successful. I am a big dreamer. I don't know how to dream small. And I dream big. So it didn't go where I wanted it to go, not that it didn't go where it was supposed to. And so there were things that happened in my own, you know, personal life. I kind of set everything to the back burner, still working on Mo Red, you know, promoting and pushing other people. And I moved to, I had to move. I moved to Indianapolis, Indiana. And I had to make my footprint. And I'm like, okay, what is it that I can do? What do I want to do? And I'm like, they know me up here as far as my daughter is concerned, but they didn't know me, my own company. So I'm like, all right, let me do IWrite again, because it's okay to do it over again. And I started to become more and more focused. Not that I didn't still pour and promote other people, but I had to make sure I made time for my own business. And that's what I did. So that was kind of my go moment is, hey, and 6 is the number of man, right? I'm not a man, but I'm a one man. And I'm like, I calculated it back and I was like, wow, it's been 6 years since I did this. Let me do it again. And I've been received with open arms up here. everything moved very, very fast. In my own city, people had to get to know me instead of them just knowing me through my daughter. And up here, it went real fast. Like, I got to connect with the radio station, with the marketing people, and it's going. It's going. So I'm going to say with this go moment, this ride the wave moment.
I love it. I love it. Now, a woman that can write is a very powerful, has a very powerful strength. What does that power mean to you?
So power does mean strength, inner strength, first of all, to me. And as women, especially if you are a wife, want to become a wife, or have been a wife, we tend to maybe silence ourselves to a degree, but that's different when it comes to business. Just because, you're being submissive to your spouse and allowing him to lead, that does not mean you get yourself silenced when it comes to business. Uh-huh. So I believe in writing, that's the way for a lot of us women to speak out, for us to have our voices heard, uh-huh, for us to connect and even collaborate and understand and respect each other, even as women. Because if one woman is writing about something, trust me, another woman is writing something similar somewhere else. Uh-huh. So hopefully, they, quote-unquote, collide so they can collaborate and make it even bigger.
Absolutely. I agree. You better talk that talk, child. Now, you wear many hats in the community because you have so many different things that you have your hands in. That's why I said, you got many pots cooking on the stove. And you do that a lot. You've been doing that for a long time. How do you avoid being burned out?
Well, I take time to relax, revamp, and rejuvenate. Sometimes that relaxing and rejuvenating and revamping may just be just a 24-hour break from everything and just kind of being in a quiet place, be it like not too long ago, I literally left my home, did not tell nobody where I was going. Of course, my children have my, I share my location with them, but they didn't know where I was going or where I was going. I needed a break, and I took it. And when I came back, I was focused. It was nothing but 24 hours. Sometimes it's longer than that. Sometimes it may just take a couple of hours. It's whatever I feel I may need to do so that I don't overload myself. Because if I overload myself, that doesn't just affect me. It affects my clients. It affects my home. It affects my, occupation. It affects me spiritually, my spirit. It affects everything. And that's not okay. So if you don't take the time out to relax yourself and kind of even yourself out and give everything, enough time. Sometimes my writing may take 2 hours. When I'm talking to a client, it may just be 15 minutes. But everything has to get done. Mm-hmm. So, but again, when I take the time to relax, if I don't, my body gonna shut down on me. I'm gonna shut down mentally, spiritually, and physically, and that's not good. That's not good at all. So you just have to kind of know. At my age, I have no issue saying my age. I'm 47. I'll be 48 in August. At my age, you more than know your body, so you can tell. Like, okay, let me take a little break.
And that's true, because a lot of times I think that we, especially as women, we are the foundation of our families. We the neck. And we hold everybody up and we keep them going, and we tend to forget about ourselves sometimes. And I think in that, one, we don't give ourselves the grace that we give others. But we don't kind of accept that some of the things that we have to do are not always necessary. You know, they always talk about the difference between mothering and nurturing. I think sometimes we don't know how to turn that off. So when it comes to ourselves, we don't give ourselves that grace. We don't give ourselves space to give all of our feelings and our emotions time to be able to balance out. So we tend to be unbalanced at most of the time. So I'm glad that you're able to take that time and just kind of make sure that you have you. Because if you ain't got you ain't got time and no space for nobody else. So you got to have you first in order to give to others.
Hey, amen. I totally agree with that one. ain't nothing else to say behind that right there.
Now you got the IWrite On tour. You started it back up. What has that process been like for you?
So the process has been like for me, of course, just like anything. When you come up with this idea, or you want to put this idea back out there, it's very, 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 very exciting. Unlike 6 years ago when I did it, of course, 6 years ago I had just hit my 40s, so to speak. So, you know, life and my mindset was a little different then than what it is now. I'm, more closer to knocking on 50's door. So I know myself. Again, I know what I, can and can't take on and how much time I need. But it was real, and it has been and is very, very exciting for me. We have different people this time. So we have Antoine Floyd Jr., who is going to speak with everyone about books, the process of it, tell them get editors, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to, give full details because a lot of this stuff that I know already, not just from me having done it before, but being in the business. And then we have T. Hunt, who is the musical person. And then last but not least is our headliner, Coach John Alexander, who is going to talk with the people about turning their books and or screenplays into movies, TV series, or, turning your TV series into books, just all of it in a mixture. The reason why it kind of came about was I'm in the literary world. I'm in the musical world. Mo Red Production was built and made to eventually get into the film industry. And so that's the last thing. And I'm like, okay, why don't I just put it all together as far as everybody kind of being able to get an understanding of each individual genre, from the music to the books to the screenplay and movies and everything. When I did it 6 years ago, I was more than nervous. I think I was even a little scared. There were times I was too overly excited, in my opinion, and then there were times where I was probably a little bit too underexcited. This time, I believe I'm more level-headed. Everything is back to this balance. Everything is, kind of balanced. I do have my days where I'm a little, extra excited, and then I have my days where I'm a little more calm. It's coming up here in 4 days, so no, not 4 days. Yes, it is. Yeah, the 16th. No, 4, 5, 6 days. 6 days. I'm sorry, and I'm not scatterbrained, but I'm like, oh my God, it's this close. It's this close. So I'm ready, though. I'm more than ready this time. We are making arrangements to take it to Chicago, Detroit, and Atlanta so far. I do not believe 2023 will be the only year that IWrite will tour. Because sometimes when you doing a tour like this is different than, let's say, a musical tour, right? So musical tour, you look at all these cities and you just kind of throw it out there, and you get the dates lined up and bow. All the tickets go on sale at almost once for every single city sometimes. Whereas when you're doing something like what Mo Red is doing, you have to kind of take it inch by inch. And it can be, but it's not as big as, let's say, a musical tour. This is more, informative, more learning, more understanding. And sometimes when people are, that's why you have to be careful what you name your things. Sometimes when people hear the names of things or, what it's going to be, they want to know, but they don't want to take the time to get the information themselves. This world is a very, very popcorn, microwave world, which it's not a bad thing in some cases, but when you try to learn something like this that can be beneficial to not just you, but other people you're connected to your legacy, to your company, you have to take the time to get the information. Because I already know after this is done, there'll be a lot of people who will call either the people that were on the panel or even me and be like, okay, now, how do I A, B, C, and D? And it's like, the tour was just right there. But that's people. That's people. People tend to want what they want when they want it. Well, you got to get it while the getting is good. So if it's coming to you, go ahead, buy your ticket and go to it. If not, look and see where it's the next city that it's at. Because that's what we do when people attend musical tours, right? They look and see, I can't go to the one in Indianapolis, but I can go to the one in Cincinnati. So they make arrangements.
Absolutely. Now, you did talk about your touring in your different states. And I just had a question, though. Is it going to be the same panelists, or are you going to have different authors?
The only panelist that will stay the same is the headliner, which is Coach John Alexander, right? So, there's this, I don't want to call it a trend because it's been going on forever, but it's more put out there now. You have a lot of authors who are turning their books to movies and screenplays, right? Well, 6 years ago, right, when I did it, you didn't have a lot of people who were doing it like they're doing. Let me say how I want to say it. The urban community. A lot of the urban community was not doing it a lot 6, 7 years ago. They just weren't. But now they are. So the headliner is, everybody's very important, but the headliner is very, very important because he kind of, like I said, can kind of combine everything and wrap it up in a nutshell. So in each city and state, there'll be a different author and a different musical person. But the headliner will stay the same. The Coach John Alexander, he'll always be the person teaching on
how to bring it together.
Yes. He definitely will be. And of course, each city is bigger, so it requires more things. I do plan on doing a children's one, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah.
I love it. Now, it's a heavy cost that comes to building the brand and pushing yourself forward. Who's been your biggest supporter along the way?
My biggest supporter along the way truly has been my children, not just because they're my children, and they're my biggest cheerleaders, but they really, really have been supportive. My son himself, he purchased a ticket, and he said, Mom, give it to somebody. I said, well, baby, you don't want to come? He said, no. He said, it's not that I don't want to come. He said, but I want to be supportive to you. I want to, be able to give somebody else something. So, yeah, here's the money for a ticket. I said, oh, okay. My daughter, she's purchasing a ticket for somebody, as well as she helps in the business of Mo Red. When I do things like this, she helps feed. She helps see people, wherever she is, she's needed, she does it. And they're both, adult children. So it's not you going to do it. And I said, no, they're grown. So they don't have an issue with doing that. And I love them and thank them for it. I know they say that when you do things that a lot of times your family and friends, they'll come along sooner or later. But, in the beginning, they kind of, From my sister. My sister is purchasing a ticket as well. To my mother. My mother donated. I have a coworker up here. She's volunteering her time to help when it's here on next Saturday to, pass out everything as far as the food and see people and everything else. And, yeah. But I would say my children have been my biggest supporters. After my children, I would say my best friend and and also my goddaughter's mother. They've been very, very supportive.
I love it. I love it. Now, you have Mo Red Productions. You are taking IWrite on tour. What else do you have cooking in your creative kitchen? Because, see, you always cooking something up. Multiple things. Now, you brought up kids. How are you going to incorporate children into the IWrite?
So I did another event in Dayton, Ohio, which was called I Entertain. And we had the great Vincent M. Ward, who is also a native Daytonian. But he did he was helping people as far as getting themselves together to be able to get the information about modeling and acting and all that. So I did a children's and an adult with that. So I'm like, well, what? I can't do the IWrite like that? I can't. I said I can, and I am. Well, IWrite was inspired by one of my daughter's teachers years ago. And she's going to be the author. I want her to tour with me with the IWrite Kids edition. I want her to tour with me everywhere. But I'll probably do the IWrite Kids. I want to say I'll probably do it in Indianapolis first. But, by the time our children get to 4th grade, reading is not on the curriculum. It's
what?
Not that they don't read. It's not. It's not that they don't read anymore, but that's not a subject. You know how you have reading, you have math, you have social studies, history. Yeah, after about 4th or 5th grade, reading is not on the curriculum anymore. They read in social studies. They read in history. That's how they read. But as far as it being a subject, it's not. It's not. And, Lissha, you know how I feel about reading, period. And our children, if we bring something to them that they want to do, they'll do it. But how can we know if we don't put it in front of them? How can they know?
You're right.
Right?
You're absolutely right.
You have a lot of authors who will tell you, I've been writing since I was, 10, 12 years old. But they didn't publish or have their first book published till they're 21, 25, because nobody took the time to put something in front of them and push them to show them, hey, this is how it's done, or even give their parents the information, right? So if Mo Red is able to put that in front of them, all of them won't be book authors. Some of them will be writers, right? Writers as far as movies, plays, and all that. Some of them might already know how to write music. You know, my daughter started writing music at 5 years old because it was always around her.
Mm-hmm.
And so once it was seen, once I seen that she could do it, for me, I'm not going to wait on somebody or I say, hey, she knows how to do such and such. You have any information? No, I'm going to get myself out there and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And some people don't have the time or whatever. So that's where Mo Red comes in. Well, hey, here's this. Right? Here's this. My plan is to actually get because I know of a couple of young authors, children authors, to get them on the panel as well so that they can talk to their peers. Because the other children may not want to hear it from me, you know, or from John or from anybody else. They might want to hear it from somebody who looks more their age. Because they'll see, hey,
I love it.
You know, she's doing it or he's doing it, and I know I want to do it. It's cool, right? Because you got to think about it. He is still in the, you know, if it ain't cool, I ain't doing it. But if another child is doing it or they see other children doing it, they're like, okay, that's cool. All right, so me writing is cool. You know, me writing commercial, you know, movie, play, whatever. It's cool. Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do the children's edition. It'll be the first time. Woo, Jesus help me. It'll be the first time I'm doing this children's edition as far as I write. Oh, but I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited.
Me too. I need you to stay excited, too, because when I call you, I'm like, Lissha, remember we was talking about it? And remember you was like, I'm excited. And I thought I was going to call you, and here's my phone call. Okay?
But you know what? I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about basically what you want, right? I think that we have to kind of know what we want outside of relationships. But you got to be that thing that you want from someone else, you got to be that thing to yourself first. I truly believe that. Especially when you talk about living life after divorce and being happy after divorce, because, you know, divorce is like a death. And so you're kind of losing something like a limb that you've had for however long that you were together. But life is constantly changing. Yeah. And when major life events start and they happen, you can't help to kind of get lost in them sometimes. But those moments are meant for you to be able to gain wisdom and to grow, right? I call it the switch up. So the switch up, I believe, is when God places his divine hand on your situation and says, listen, you about to go outside of where I need you to be. So I need to shake some things up. And I need to put you in this position because I need you over here and now you're over there. Talk a little bit about life and rebuilding life after divorce and knowing what you want for yourself in your future.
So, my divorce was final in 2019. The separation was in 2017. So, if I'm being transparent, from 2017 till at least the beginning of 2019, I was real bad in depression. Now, keep in mind, during that time, I still did events. I was still pushing and promoting people and companies and businesses. Unbeknownst to everybody, when I say deep in depression, there were days I didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't want to get out of bed. I promise I didn't. And I went to this awesome conference, and it was Tell Your Story. And I listened to those people talk about different things that had occurred in their life. You know, they was telling their story. And I found tears rolling down my face. And I did a reality check. Like, I had to really look in the mirror. And I said, girl, you are depressed. And you didn't even know it. Like, wow. But when I go back and I look at some of them pictures and selfies I had took, I can look in my eyes and see I was depressed. Now, there were a couple of people who called me and was like, girl, you was on my mind, A, B, C, and D, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay. Just pray for me, girl. I always pray for you. And I'm like, okay. And kind of left it at that. But there were a few people that I did really open up to and say, hey, A, B, C, and D. But I still was doing my events because I did the I Entertain, and I did a couple of other things. But I was so used to being not just a mother but a wife that I did lose myself in life. I lost myself in that relationship. And I was so scattered brain, and it was almost like there's no place on earth for me anymore. But that wasn't the case. But in my mind, that's what I felt like.
Yeah.
So I'm a spiritual person. So I found myself making sure that I stayed in church, making sure that I read my Bible, making sure that I prayed and had communication with God. And my bishop began to say things. He wasn't one of the ones that he didn't know real deep stuff. But he started, God had him preaching and teaching things, and I'm like, that's for me. That's for me. That's, God, I hear you. That's for me. That's for me. And sometimes that's for me, that's not at that exact moment. It's for a future moment. And sometimes it's for both, now and later. You know, like the candy, now, later. Now and later. And so, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, God, I hear you. I hear you. And I continued to make sure that I guarded my mind and my heart in the spiritual sense. But I did have to be vulnerable enough and be transparent that there were sometimes I needed to share certain things that were going on in my life with other people to not just help heal them, but continue to heal me. Because, by nature, I'm a promoter. I'm an encourager. That's what I do. I could be at the lowest point in my life. I'm going to find somebody to encourage, and it does something because that's part of my assignment. That's part of my purpose. And I begin to feel healing. And sometimes I have to stand there and cry with them. It's part of my assignment. And when it's all said and done, first of all, it's not me. It's the God in me. It's not me. It's the God in me. And once I come down off, I don't want to say a high, but once I come down off that spiritual journey for them minutes or hours, it's like, whew, I needed that. And so I do the self-awareness to make sure that I'm taking care of me. Yes, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a godmother, I'm an auntie, I'm a daughter, but I also have to make sure I take care of me. So it goes back to when I said I'll just leave and be gone for some hours, 24 hours, whatever I need to rejuvenate, to woosah. But I had to heal from having divorce. When you get married believing you're going to be with this person forever. Right? You don't never plan on divorcing. At least I don't know nobody who's gotten married and say, you know what, in 5 years I'm getting divorced. What? Because I would say, just like you said, it's a death. So, if you know how you feel when your loved one passes away and you go through all these different emotions, it's the same way with when you're divorcing somebody. It's the death of a relationship. And so you go through all these griefs and moments, and you do you feel every emotion that probably you could ever think of, from anger to sadness to happiness to bitterness, to depression, to doubt. Like there's every emotion, to grief, every emotion. It hits you at different times. And you have to say, what can I do with what I'm going through? Right? Because I know God going to get me through this. That's your faith, right? Having faith in God's confidence, God's ability. I know He going to get me through this. I just gotta hold on, right? Holding on to your belief, your faith, your understanding, God, and roll with it. And say, okay, God, if I'm going too far to the right, hey, snatch me, do something, put a sign, let somebody wave a smoke signal, something. And you have to open up your eyes, what they like to call it a third eye. You have to open up your eyes and see that signal going, hey, you're going too far to the right. Okay, let me pull back a little bit. Because God ain't going to push you back. That's forcing you. He don't do that. You have to do that, right? They like to say, you take one step, God will take two. Yeah, but He's not going to make you take that one step. You have to take that one step. So I had to, like I said, pay attention and see the signs. Okay, I'm going too far to the right. All right, let me bring it back. And then when we go through stuff in life, use it to help somebody else. Use it to help somebody else. I could sit and call one of my homegirls that's, been through a divorce or whatever before, and we can sit. It's not that we're bashing our husbands or ex-husbands. It's that we're trying to get an understanding of what went wrong. Because it takes two, right? Now, if a person went out and if the male went out and cheated, right, that woman didn't say, hey, here, go ahead, go out there and cheat. No. But she has to look at, I'm speaking from me, from my point of view. The woman has to look at, okay, was there anything that I did that may have encouraged or gave space for him to go out there and cheat? And for me, I would have to say, yes. Yes. There were, I'm not going to get graphic, there were times I said no to more than just physical touch. Well, males are very, very sexual, right? Women, we tend to like to show our intimacy or our love through doing things, through encouraging you, whereas a lot of males tend to want to show their love or express their love through sex. Through sex. So if a man is in a marriage with a woman and his woman who he vowed to love, sickness and in health, to death do us part, starts to say no, right? In his mind, he probably does doubt himself, like, I did something wrong. It's not supposed to be like this. I'm not going to keep, whatever. And then, but he done gave, what he doesn't understand is he done gave space to the devil, right? He gave just that small little space to the devil. So now in his mind, the devil work in his mind, right? He may go to work, go to the grocery store, go to a bar with his boys, whatever, and he keeps seeing this same woman, right? Or even he may see a woman that's very similar in the physical appearance of what he loves that's at home. But this one sitting in front of his face done, giving him that, because men are more emotionally intelligent than what we are, right? They pick up on stuff real quick, sexually. And if that woman is giving off the, I'm trying to, whatever, and he's not getting it at home, he go ahead and let the devil use him, and he begins to have an affair. It starts out emotionally. It starts out with conversation. It starts out with text. The first beginning, it starts in his mind where he letting the devil trick him and say, well, go ahead and go do it. Yeah, how she gonna know? That's the mind, the sin, the thought of it, the transgression. Then he begins to act it out by having conversations, and she texting him, he texting her. Now you're having an emotional affair. Your wife don't know nothing about it. Then it may turn physical, right? But sooner or later, that woman's intuition is going to hit her, and she's going to say, something ain't right. She don't quite put it together, but something ain't right. That's why you hear a lot of women and or even a man will say to a woman, when something don't feel right, it ain't right. It ain't right. And then we start to pay attention more. And if we choose to forgive the spouse for cheating once we know about it, we're damaging ourselves just a little more. So sometimes our self-esteem is damaged or chipped at in what's supposed to be the most loving relationship you could have outside of a relationship with your children. And when we keep forgiving, at some point we have to, again, take responsibility. Because no, we didn't take and, stick his, in her, but we gave enough space. We gave enough space to where he was comfortable enough that, okay, she's not going to find out. Not going to find out. But what human beings tend to not understand is now we're transferring of energy or that soul ties. From that woman, that other woman whispering in that husband's ear, right? Her spirit is not going to mix with the wife he got at home spirit. They two different women. They may be of two different ages. Of course, they don't think the same. Then that other woman may find out about the wife because the husband done lied and said, oh, they're separated, right? Or, oh, that's just my baby mama, or whatever lie he chooses to tell her. But in the process of that man losing that sad piece, now he's losing that wife as well. And he may or may not notice it. But when God says let something go, you got to let it go. You got to let it go.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to do nothing but... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
It's not going to do nothing but continuously damage you. And like I said, at some point, you can't blame the other person because a person will only do what you allow them to keep doing. Once you know that spouse is having an affair, whether it's emotional or physical, right? You choose to stay or you choose not to stay. If you stay and they continue doing it or they do it again, you have to look at yourself. You have to look at yourself.
Absolutely. You're right. But it goes deeper than that because it goes beyond his intent and purpose, right? A lot of times when we go through things, when we experience things, we stop paying attention to ourselves, right? So I remember Sarah Jakes Roberts did a sermon, and she said, you were not going to leave your marriage, so I had to make your marriage leave you because you were going to settle for something less than what I have planned for you, right? But if we think about our actions and the way in which we move, that first time you say no is saying that you're not happy about something. That's the first sign that there's something seriously wrong. And that could be before or after any type of infidelity happens, but that's the first sign of the breakdown. You see what I'm saying? And we stop and we don't think about, at that point in time, you have kind of left that space. You see what I'm saying? You've left that space. I think a lot of times as women, we will hold on to the end, to the string. We're going to hold on to it. But like you said, at some point in time, we have to let it go, but we have to learn how to sever and let things go sooner. And I'm going to say sever. I'm going to say sever, fix, or let go, right? Because at that first moment that we reject somebody, that's our sign that something needs to be severed, fixed, or just simply let go. And I don't think we don't do that until after, and that makes it a struggle. It makes healing from divorce a struggle sometimes, because one, we have to give ourselves grace, but we have to forgive ourselves for those things that we may have overlooked and that we didn't pinpoint and handle and take heed of. You know what I'm saying? And it's rare that people in general do it. But not until your divorce is final do you actually sit down and say, what part did I play? We'll never think about it until after everything. Because I think a lot of times, especially now, people, they move around, they move in, they do whatever they're going to do in their space, in their relationship. And a lot of times we get married for the wrong reasons. We don't understand the purpose of that and the power in marriage. When you're married, every time you and your husband wake up and put your feet on the floor, the devil is mad because y'all supposed to be out here shaking stuff up. But we tend to lose sight of what the purpose of marriage is. And we tend to marry the wrong people, whether he married the wrong wife or she married the wrong husband, right? But in thinking about what do you want for yourself, what do you want that thing to look like? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years? In business and in life, we really have to take notice of how we're moving and who we're moving with, because everybody is not meant to go with you. But you got to have a plan. You have to have a plan for your life, or life will make a plan that you don't necessarily want.
That's it.
And I'm not saying don't be submissive. I'm saying have discernment and submit to the right one. Because your husband has to serve a purpose in your life just as you serve a purpose in his. A lot of people get married. It's like, okay, well, I got somebody to share bills with. Or, what is y'all purpose? What is y'all plan? How are y'all going to shake this world up together?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I think a lot of us didn't get sat down and understand the root to marriage, right? So I'll say, although my first marriage failed, I don't believe it's my final marriage. You know, I do want to be married again someday to the right one. And this dating pool got a PP and got everything in it. Lord have mercy. And so I make sure I keep my mind focused on business and God's business and my children. Because in the Bible, it says, he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favors with God. So I'm somebody's complete favor, because we all have favor, right? Lissha, you're somebody's complete favor, right? We all got favor. But when that husband finds that wife, now he's obtained complete favor with God.
Mm-hmm.
But whoever my husband is, he going to find me working, right? Because we all like to talk about Ruth and Boaz. Boaz found Ruth working. She was working.
Yes, she was.
She was working, okay? She was out in the fields, and he noticed her. He noticed her. Now, it was a different time, so I'm going to bring it to the 21st century, right? And I'm going to say it like this. He going to find me working, right? And he going to look and say, what can we do to work together? Let's build this empire, this dynasty together. How is what I'm doing in business and in life going to help me, meaning me, and how is what she's doing, because I'm the man talking as the woman, how is what she's doing in life and business going to be of help to me? So he going to find me work. Yeah. And we're going to continue to work from business to life to our occupation. You got to work. Faith without works is dead. It is. So just because you have the faith and believe you can do it, if you don't put a foot forward, it's not going to work. So whoever my husband is, just because he has belief that he going to be a husband to somebody, if he don't put a foot forward, he not going to find me. Because I'm going to be working. He got to find me.
But that's the thing. We can't worry about what somebody else going to do, right? Or when they're going to do it. Because that's not really our business.
Yeah.
Because the whole point, you want to already be doing what you need to do when you find me. So if you find me, what you got to do to find me, that's really not my business. But my business is making sure that thing I want to find me is already within me, right? A lot of times we tend to look for other people to be what we want to be for ourselves, but we look for it in them. I need you to be this for me so that I can feel a certain way or I can move a certain way. But we have to already be doing those things. You want to be financially secure, create your security. Don't look for your security to come from the outside. Don't look for your peace to come from the outside. Don't look for your validation to come from the outside. I don't know what I was watching. I can't even remember who I was watching. It was an actress, and she said validation is for parking. You know what I'm saying? Validation is for parking.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to be, you be that thing. Whatever you want to draw to you, because ultimately we draw in who we are at our core. So whatever it is that you see or feel needs to be changed, fixed, or manifested in your life, you have the ability to do that.
Amen.
But it also comes from knowing what it is that you want.
Right.
You know, what it is that you see yourself doing. How do you see yourself moving? Everything else is going to fall in line and in place, right?
Right.
So in business, if you could change anything in the industry, what would it be?
It would be, honestly, the same thing that if I could change in life. People having respect and understanding of each other. That don't mean I have to agree with what you're doing and how you're doing it. But I'm going to have respect in that's how you do it or that's how you understand it. I got respect for it. Not that I would do it like that. but I can respect for you in the way you're choosing to do it. And I feel like it goes like that in life, whether I have a friend or coworker. If I don't like the way you doing it, it's not up to me to say, hey, you ain't doing it. No. Okay, I can respect that and understand it and go about my business and do it the way I know to do it or the way I understand to do it. I believe, hopefully I don't, it's my opinion. Everybody got an opinion. They say, I've heard people say marriage is it's like a business deal or business contract. Right?
It is. It absolutely is.
Who come together, right? And they decide these are the terms, right? This is how we're going to do and work the marriage. That's why they tell us to go to premarital counseling. You sit down, you as a wife, you understand how your husband is going to run the household and, do ABC and protect and provide and blah, blah, blah. As a husband, he sits down with the wife and is explained to how, she's going to manage the household, right? How she's going to be his helpmate and backbone. In a business agreement, it's the same thing. You have these terms. You agree to these terms. This is what's going to happen, and we're going to get this money, right? Remember what I said? I said my husband is going to find me, and we're going to build this empire or dynasty or whatever. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. But anyhow, yeah.
You are absolutely right.
I'm doing much better after life after divorce. Life is lifing. And I look at it and understand it differently. Like I said, than what I did 6 years ago when I did IWrite. 6 years ago when I was in a marriage, I understand life and go about it differently. I'm still Stacy. I'm just a more mature, a more experienced, a more growing Stacy.
Absolutely.
And my company is the same thing. My company is more experienced.
That's a process of rebranding. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Rebranding at its best. You are rebranding your business. You are rebranding your life. Now, what is the hardest part about rebranding your business when you're trying to bring IWrite back to the forefront?
So one of the hardest parts is sometimes people remembering how it was done before. People assuming you're going to do it the same exact way. Well, when you woke up yesterday and put on your clothes, did you put them on the same way you did today? No, because today you probably put on the right foot, then the left foot, and yesterday you might have put on the left foot, then the right foot. Yeah, but both times you got your pants on. Both times you fully got them on. Same way with your shirt, Same way with driving, going somewhere. We don't always take the same direction to get to our destination.
You're right about that.
We're going to get there.
Now, business, whether you're... Oh, go ahead.
I think that when we think of a lot of things that go on in life, things are so relatable to each other that when you understand one thing, you can help and use it to be able to relate and understand other things. There are things that happen and occur in your life. When you understand it, it'll help you in business. When things happen and occur in a relationship, it can help you in life. Well, we just have to, once again, open our eyes and pay attention. Learn a lesson. Everybody and everything comes in your life for a reason. For a reason. Ain't no coincidence. It's a reason. Either it's a blessing or a lesson. And we know it's for a season, whether it's short-term, long-term, or a lifetime. Everything.
Absolutely. Now, what's that? Because in any business, there's a cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it could be overwhelming at times to be able to move around and do what you need to do. What advice would you have for anybody, any aspiring entrepreneurs?
Pace yourself. Pace yourself. Don't always expect the support to come from where you feel like it should come from. And don't give up. Even if your event, your book, your movie, your song, whatever it is, even if it fails, don't let that failure stop you from doing what you know to do, what you love to do. Get back up and do it again. Look at what you did when it failed, right? You did A, B, C, and D, right? And first of all, it's hard for anything to fail because if you do it, that in itself is a success. The failure is when you don't do it or you don't do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because success is a mindset, right? I went to a concert, right? I went to a concert, same exact concert, one in Indianapolis, one in Cincinnati. The concert in Indianapolis, of course, the arena was way bigger. It was sold out. The crowd, the atmosphere was way more different than when I went to Cincinnati. It was a smaller arena, and the atmosphere was very, very different, very different. But because the promoters continued to promote it and put it on, and the people who performed still gave their all, it was a success. The success is because they did it. They did it. They still gave it their all. It was the any concert. In Indianapolis, like I said, the atmosphere, it was different. It was hype. It was in Cincinnati, it was a little less laid back. In Indianapolis, you couldn't find nobody sitting down hardly. In Cincinnati, it was a whole bunch of people sitting down. It was very low. But any Keith Sweat and Tank, they still all performed their heart out. That was the success in it. Not because both places pretty much sold out, but because they still gave it their all. So when a person does their book, right, first of all, you have to put money into anything you do. So if you're going to do a book, if you're only going to pay somebody $50 to $100 to edit,
you're going to get what you pay for.
You're going exactly. Right? Now, I can't tell you an exact cost because every editor is different. You might have one editor to charge you $1,000. You might have another editor to charge you $1,500. You may have another one to charge you $2,000. You may have one to charge you $500. Every editor is different. But whatever you pay for it, you're going to get different results, right? From them having been experienced, knowing it and done it 50 million times, to maybe somebody is brand new doing it. So, of course, they're not going to charge you as much. And if that book just so happens to fail, because you're going to have readers who's going to say, this wasn't edited ABC. You have readers who don't edit and all that stuff, but they know what they're looking for. They know. And so if it's not successful as far as you have to go back and re-edit or re-A, B, C, and D, don't not do it. Even if you don't have the money, you set aside a little bit of money at a time so that you can afford that $1,500 editor or $1,000 editor or $2,000 or whatever the case may be. You're successful because you didn't give up even when it didn't look picture perfect or right to you. So, again, my best advice I can give to entrepreneurs, whether just starting over, starting back up, or continuing on, is to not give up. The failure is in giving up.
Absolutely, because the success is in failing. You see what I'm saying? Right. Because each time you're gonna do better and be better because you know better. But I want to go back because you brought up the editing process, and we talked about knowing what you want. I think in any business, in any industry, you have to do your due diligence. You have to research. You have to know exactly what elements you need when you need them. And when it comes to an editor, one, you gotta have to know what kind of, not just the cost, but what kind of editor do you have, right? Because there are several different types of editors, and you have to know what editor fits better with what you have written. Do you need more development? Do you need more of a copy editor setting? But you got to know what it is before you step into it, because that price is going to be based off of what they see and the amount of work that they have to put into your project. So if you're a new author, if you haven't done your due diligence before handing your baby over to your editor, a lot of that is going to fall on you, because your due diligence was to make sure you gave them the best project to your ability, best project to the skills that you have. And when you pass that thing over to the editor, their job is to take it from good to excellent. But you got to give them something to work with. So now if they get your project and they say, okay, well, you need to learn the process of writing. You need to understand the process of writing. You have a lot of holes. You have a lot of this. You have a lot of that. That's where some of the cost comes from. Not doing your due diligence and knowing that you've turned in the best project that you can to the next level on your way to being able to make that thing a project now, a product that you're going to sell. So I want to add to starting with yourself. You have to clean up in business yourself first. Those things within you that need to be fixed and changed and edited and rewritten, do those things. And I'm going to say, just in life, before you step forward and add other people, places, and things to your space, you want to start with you first. And making sure that you clean up those things within you that could be roadblocks to stopping you from moving forward. And then, as you said, don't stop once you start moving. Now, what's next? What's next for Mo Red and Mo Red Production?
So what's next is for Mo Red is taking this IWrite on tour. Like I said, I want to do a children's edition, but taking this IWrite on tour. And after that, I believe we're going to start pushing our sister company, CEO, creators, entrepreneurs, owners. Right now it's a bookstore. It's a mobile bookstore. But they all kind of go, both companies go hand in hand, right? So with Mo Red Production, we do promotion, event planning, and organizing, and management. With CEO, we sell books. We sell product from, it's going to come a time when we get a brick and mortar where the authors aren't just going to be able to, send X amount of books and we sell them, but their merchandise as well. Some of them have bookmarks, some of them have T-shirts, some of them have, other brands of other stuff that can be put into a store. So everything is just going to kind of coincide with each other. But it's, one step at a time. And as long as we keep stepping forward, we're going to grow.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm excited. And whatever it is that I can do, you let me know, and I got you. I want to thank you for sharing your time, space, your energy with us. I want you to shout out the date of the IWrite that you have coming up, where everybody can get their tickets, get more information, and how people can reach you on social media.
Okay, so it's IWrite Production presents, Mo Red Production presents IWrite, Writers and Aspiring Writers Workshop. It's Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. Writing experts are Coach John Alexander, T. Hunt, Antoine Floyd. It will be at the Bliss Space in Indianapolis, Indiana, 8445 Castleton Corner, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46250. You can find Mo Red Productions. I'm about to give myself a whole nother name, Mo Red Productions, on any platform under Mo Red Productions, from Twitter to IG to Facebook. The event, where you can get your ticket online at Eventbrite. Look for IWrite, or you can give me a call if you're in the city. Tickets will be on sale to the 20th of April. After that, you can pay at the door. Of course, prices will be increased. Again, it'll be at the Bliss Space, 8445 Castleton Corner, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46250. Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And our motto is get you a Mo Red.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you. I can't wait till IWrite comes to Atlanta. Just let me know when it comes.
Definitely. And we appreciate you as well, Lissha. We love you from the bottom of our hearts.
Oh, thanks.
Over the years, we haven't just found a safe place with coming on your platforms, but me as a person, I've found a friend in you. Whether you and I talk every day, once a month, once every 6 months, I can say, Lissha is a friend. Lissha is a business associate with no problem.
Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate you, and I love you. And I thank you for being able to come on and share with us your newest venture. I know it's going to be great. You guys go out and get your tickets. Make sure you get this information, especially if you are an author and you in the season of authors turning books into movies and screenplays. Make sure that you get an understanding on the process so that you can get your book in motion, and we can see it on Tubies and Primes and the big screen, as it's happening so often. I have so many author friends that are now producers and directors and screenwriters, and I'm so very proud of them for being able to take that one dream and turn it into the next step.
That's it.
We want to thank you guys for kicking it with us here on Hardcore Grind Podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.